try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today, so we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger.
Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekday morning show where we bring you the latest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency technical, on-chain, and fundamental analysis. And in today's episode of Coffee and Crypto Live, Bitcoin has done the seemingly impossible. It has broken recent local highs that we had set right around $24,500, and it's actually rallied beyond that, breaking all expectations. So let me just break this down for you. There are a few different reasons why Bitcoin going into a rally here is significant. First and foremost, we tried to go into a rally on Bitcoin and break through the levels that we just broke last night. About a month ago, in mid-January, we were unable to do that despite the fact that we had the S&P 500 moving to the upside, we had the Dixie moving to the downside, we had a very bullish CPI report only weeks earlier, we had the effective federal funds rate coming back at 25 basis points for the first time that we've seen in 9 months, and a plethora of other convergent bullish factors told us that, hey, look, now might be the time for Bitcoin to break through about $24,500 and start going into a big rally. The tricky thing was Bitcoin had already rallied nearly $8,000, so it needed to correct. Well, Bitcoin started to correct, dropped down to the top part of the EQ cloud on LuxAlgo's technical indicator package for LuxAlgo Premium, and a lot of people, including myself, were a little bit concerned. If we break down through this, it's probably going to be quite bearish and we can move to the downside. But I told you yesterday in the video, even in the title of the stream, if Bitcoin breaks $22,808, you're likely going to see some serious... You guys have all seen Back to the Future. We broke 22,808, and in a phenomenal display, as soon as we broke that level that we were talking about yesterday, Bitcoin rallied $2,000 in less than 6 hours. And now, as you can see in chat, there are people already saying, is the bull market over? There are some people saying in certain terms that the bull market is over, and that very well may be the case. The bear market is over, and the bull market very well may be here. If Bitcoin breaks this next level that we're going to talk about today, nearly $30,000 is not only in the cards, but I would say is highly likely for a number of reasons that we will be discussing in today's episode of Coffee and Crypto Live. I do hope you guys are looking forward to today's stream, because I do really think that you are, I think that you're going to end up getting a lot of value out of it. So let's go ahead and read some chat. As you guys know, I like to read all the green names, and I also like to read the person who was first. So Oh My was first, said, good morning, hope everyone has a good day, hashtag FinSov. Indeed. For any of you guys who are new here, FinSov is the idea of financial sovereignty. That is the concept that I came up with. That basically means that you have total and complete control over your finances. Sovereignty. A king has sovereignty over his land. The ruling party of a government has sovereignty. That's kind of that idea of nationalistic autonomy and authority over whatever it is that that nation is in charge of. I want you to have sovereignty and like this kingship, this dominion over your finances, rather than the other way around, because most people are slaves of their finances, and they do whatever their finances tell them to and whatever their finances allow. And I don't want that for you. I want you to be in charge of your finances, that they would serve you and not the other way around. So thank you very much for the hashtag FinSov in chat. Oh my, very important idea there. Mike Lowry in chat said, good morning, everybody. Good morning to you, Mike Lowry. We've got Pulsed Light Photographic Studio Repairs. Hi there, Jebb. What is up, PLP SR? What's up, dude? We got Just Ray in chat, our first green name of the day. Hello to you, Just Ray. We've got Mike Lowry in chat. Remember to smash the like button for Jebb and all he does on a daily basis. Well, thank you, Mike Lowry. I really appreciate that. Jebb, do you ever talk about Hex? I do not believe I've ever talked about Hex on the channel, although I have met Richard Hart. Let's see. We got Joker's Wild. Yep, Dixie got upside. Yep, we will talk about the Dixie here in a little while. So if you guys are looking forward to today's stream, I want you to do me a favor. Go ahead and hit the like button and get hyped, because if you'll remember, Club DeFi is relaunching on Monday, and in perfect time for what seems to be the beginning of a new bull market. So let's go ahead and jump right on over to CoinMarketCap.com. All right. Bitcoin right now is trading at $24,416. It is up 7.5% in the last 24 hours. It is up 47% year to date. Keep in mind, this year has only witnessed 47 days pass. So Bitcoin is up 1% a day so far this year. If you'll remember, there are 47 days since the beginning of the year. There are 31 days in January, 16 days so far this month. So just going back to January 1st, you can see it's been 46 to 47 days, depending on how you count it. Basically 46 days, actually, because this day isn't over. There have been 46 days, and Bitcoin's up 48%. Those are some, how would you say, those are some BitConnect returns. We have seen 1% a day, as BitConnect used to promise. But Bitcoin is obviously better, and it's not a Ponzi scheme either, for anybody who remembers BitConnect. Nevertheless, it's not just Bitcoin that's rallied. Ethereum has rallied quite substantially. It's up 6.61% in the last 24 hours, sitting at almost $1,700. That's very substantial, and we'll talk about why in a second. It's also up 40% year to date. Cardano up 60% year to date and up 3% over the last 24 hours. Polygon up 80% year to date and up 8% today. Solana up 4% and 140% year to date. These are bull market territory levels of rallying. This is what a bull market kind of feels like. The last 45 days is essentially what a bull market feels like. So if you've never been... if you've never had the privilege of being around for a Bitcoin and cryptocurrency bull market, this is kind of the miniature idea of what it feels like. I've been in crypto for almost 6 years now. I got into cryptocurrency on, let's see if I can find it, on the 31st of July. Boom, right there. I got into crypto on that day. So I've witnessed the end of the 2017 bull market. I've also witnessed all of the 2020 and 2021 bull market. And I've been here for over 2,000 days. So I've seen a lot of market like this. And this is, I can tell you pretty confidently, what a bull market feels like. It's on a slightly smaller scale, but this is what it feels like. And now the question that we have to jump into today is whether or not Bitcoin can break one critical level and then rally to $28,000 and change. And also, we need to talk about whether or not Bitcoin is going to be able to sustain this rally, which is ultimately the real question, isn't it? So let's start over here on CoinMarketCap, and I want to point something very special out to you on the market capitalization charts. We have now hit a local high on market capitalization for Bitcoin. If you can see here, we have actually breached above the local market capitalization levels that we had set in this more recent rally over the end of January, moving into the beginning of February territory. We are now sitting above $1.1 trillion on CoinMarketCap's register of what our market capitalization is. That is a level of resistance that we were hitting. And that's also, of course, well above what we saw back in the pre-FTX highs. And it's almost above, it is above the level that we saw back here in the September 12th high that we've been talking about so extensively. If we go over to the total market capitalization charts on TradingView, which is calculated slightly differently, you can see that we have now broken above the local high that we set back on February the 2nd. We've broken above our two critical levels of resistance that were $1,031 billion, $1,061 billion, and we're currently sitting at, $1,052 billion, and we're currently sitting at $1,062 billion. That is very substantial. Because if you'll remember, Bitcoin and Ethereum and total market capitalization chart have three different major levels that we want to pay close attention to, and they look like this. I'll just go ahead and switch a lot of these blue, and I'll show you the significance of this here in uno momento. Give me 1 second. So you can see Bitcoin is broken bullish, and these three charts have these three flat levels of support on them. These basically represent the local high that we saw pre-FTX collapse on November the 5th, this high that we saw on September the 10th to September the 12th, depending on what exact chart you're looking at, and then this high that we saw on August 13th. These are the three major levels of resistance that Bitcoin is currently, that crypto is kind of under and battling through. These three levels show up on all three of the charts because, of course, the markets tend to move in tandem. They are just at different levels, and the difference between them is slightly variable. By the way, if you guys are enjoying today's stream, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that post notification bell so you won't miss a single stream. We cover crypto daily here. Moving back into it, you can see that Bitcoin is above two of those levels. It is above $21,500, which is our pre-FTX high. It is also above $22,808, which we will talk about in a second. That is the level that we were looking at yesterday. I told you in yesterday's stream that if we break 22,808, all hell's going to break loose and Bitcoin's going to go on a run, and that's what seems to be taking place right now. We've also broken above these two levels on total market capitalization. We were below both of them yesterday. And Ethereum, we're currently knocking on 1677's door right now. I wouldn't say that we're concretely above it yet, so I'm not going to color that blue just yet. I color my resistance red, my support blue. They're brand colors, and also it just makes it a little bit easier to follow along. Yesterday, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency was above one of the 9 levels that we have here. 3 on Bitcoin, 3 on total, 3 on Ethereum. These 9 levels, 3 on 3 different charts, are the 9 major levels of resistance that the cryptocurrency market needs to battle through before it probably is going into a bull market. Bitcoin so far yesterday was above one of them. Excuse me, all 3 of these charts yesterday were above one of the 9. Today we're above 4 of the 9. It's a big deal. It's a really, really, really big deal. Bitcoin was above one of these levels, 21,500. It was not above 22,808, although it was fighting through it while we were live yesterday. Total cryptocurrency market capitalization was hovering around 1 trillion. It was not above a single one of these levels, and Ethereum hasn't much changed over there. When Bitcoin was being observed yesterday on our live stream, we were live between this time right here, because we go live at 10, and this time right here, because we end our stream at 11. So that's where the market was while we were live yesterday. This is the 5-minute chart. And I was telling you guys in yesterday's stream, if Bitcoin can break through 22,808, you can go watch yesterday's stream if you want. I was telling you that if Bitcoin can break confidently through 22,808, it's probably going to go on a big rally, and it's probably going to run all the way up to $25,000. Well, we broke through 22,808 about 3 hours after yesterday's stream ended. Around 1,300 hours, that would be 1 p.m. Eastern, and within 6 hours, Bitcoin rallied $2,000, up 9% to nearly $25,000. It peaked out at $24,888 or so. We'll turn our magnet on so we can get snapping, and you can see that we ended up going right there to, let's just go ahead and get it exactly right there, 24,900, we'll just call it. Bitcoin rallied a very long way in a very short period of time. So what does that mean? Well, we got to kind of back up, and we've got to get our perspective on crypto. So obviously Bitcoin has done very well. Obviously those 9 levels are very important. But again, we have to get perspective on all of this. And the fact of the matter is, this rally should not have taken place in the same way that the United States, that the 13 colonies should not have won the war against Britain. I don't mean morally, by the way. I'm a patriot. I love the United States. Not perfect, but it is, in my opinion, one of the greatest nations that was ever born. But you look back at the war in 1776, the Revolutionary War, and you're like, there should have been no way in the world that the 13 colonies could have beat Britain. The strongest military, both through Army and Navy on planet Earth, outnumbered, outgunned, just completely outsupplied everything. The 13 colonies just completely had everything going for them, and they got swamped. Took 6 years almost. But the 13 colonies won when they never should have been able to win that war. I don't mean should in a moral sense. I mean should as in a tactical, strategic, and militaristic sense. There should have been no way the 13 colonies would have won that war. But, and this is the critical factor, the 13 colonies had a vision. They had a dream. They had a desire. They had a passion, a hope. They had an ideal that they were fighting for. It's the foundation of the United States. It's our nation, the nation that about half of our viewers are watching from. That was the vision, that visceral reality that things weren't right. But if they had have won the war, then they could, in their vision anyway, make them right. Of course, everything wasn't right in the original 13 colonies, but that's beside the point. The point is, they should have never won that war from a tactical, strategic, and military standpoint. But they did. Why? Because they had a passion. They had a vision. They had a why. That sounds a lot like what happened just yesterday on Bitcoin. You might think, hang on a second, Jebb. That's a wacky analogy. Track with me. Bitcoin should have never been able to break above $22,808 and rally $2,000 in 6 hours the way that it just did. Should have never happened. From a technical standpoint, from a macro standpoint, from a investor sentiment at least what we could tell of the investor sentiment standpoint 48 hours ago. But I talked about this in the last 2 days. Bitcoin has a way of going directly against logic sometimes when that passion is there, when that spark is there, when that hope is there. And that's what we've seen over the last couple of months. We've seen that spark come back, and that is the thing that builds bull markets. We have seen people's hope come back. Excuse me, I am sick. Apologies. We have seen that hope come back. We've seen that visceral reality that Bitcoin has a real purpose and a real reason for being and a real why and a real ability to help a lot of people and make a lot of money and change a lot of lives. And a lot of people have realized just how serious of a notion that is. They've realized just how serious of a value proposition that is. And they realize that if Bitcoin can just get its feet under it, it will end up doing very well. Let me tell you the reasons why Bitcoin should not have been able to go through the rally that it did yesterday. Bitcoin should not have been able to go through the rally yesterday because of the Dixie and the SPY. This Dixie, as you can see right here, is continuing to rally. It actually rallied quite substantially yesterday, breaking up to 104. That's a very significant level because 104 is a pretty big level of resistance over on the Dixie's chart that we've talked about in recent memory, because that level represents some of the highs that we saw back here in the late 90s, early 2000s, right here at 104, and it also is in pretty close range and proximity to the high that we saw at the very beginning of January 2017. The Dixie is going through a pump. It is seeing on the weekly chart a three white soldiers formation. It's not a perfect one. They're not the same size. We have lower candle wicks, but in general, it's moving in that direction. The MACD is about to cross bullish. The RSI in the last 2 weeks has crossed bullish above the 14-week moving average on the RSI over here on Dixie. Dixie's moving up. Bitcoin should not be able to go up in that environment, at least from a logical standpoint. You got to think about Bitcoin from an emotional standpoint a little bit, the emotion of the traders, because it is important. You don't want to trade with emotion, but you need to keep in mind the emotion of the traders because that's actually, in a way, a fundamental indicator. So, on top of that, we shouldn't have been able to see Bitcoin go through a big rally yesterday because we have not seen a whole lot of excitement coming from the SPY. Now, the SPY could very well be about to break bullish here, break above 418. If it does, boom, Bitcoin's going to $28,000, almost certainly, with quite a lot of confidence, I would say. But over just the last 24 hours, look at what happened to the SPY. We were hoping that it would move to the upside quite substantially. Look at where it opened. We closed yesterday at 414. It opened at 408. That is not bullish territory that Bitcoin would normally be going into a rally over. On top of that, you look at the CPI data. We saw CPI come back with a 0.6% drop in January. That's one of the big things that catalyzed that reaction and that movement of Bitcoin back up to above $20,000, well above $20,000. We saw CPI come out just a couple of days ago on Valentine's Day, February 14th, and we saw a 0.1% drop. It was nothing. It was a complete nothing burger. It was a waste of a fundamental indicator. On top of that, let's just keep it going here. On top of that, we have seen Gary Gensler come out strong against Binance with Binance USD. Now, Changpeng Zhao over at Binance, the CEO and founder, is trying to distance himself from BUSD, say, BUSD is nuts. It's actually just Paxos being able to use our brand. Whatever. It's got the Binance name on it. It's worth $16 billion. It's a big deal. They're coming for BUSD. God knows if they're going to come for the rest of the stablecoins. Who knows? We don't know what Gary Gensler is going to do. He seems to have a vendetta against cryptocurrency. He seemed to have that for a couple of years, but especially since FTX imploded and all the contagion after that, put a lot of egg on his face. On top of that, he also came after Kraken and their staking program. Fined them $30 million, that being the proceeds that Kraken made from their staking program. Took the money in a fine rather than having Kraken give it back to the customers that they earned it from. Ridiculous, right? It's definitely not something that's instilling confidence in the average investor in the United States to go and invest in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market. But nevertheless, despite all of that FUD, despite the Dixie not lining up the way it should, despite the SPY not lining up the way that it should, despite the CPI, the war that Gary Gensler's declared against Bitcoin, all of that in a way attacking the price of Bitcoin, Bitcoin still managed to rally. That gives you a lot of information about the current state of affairs in crypto. That is the greatest market sentiment indicator that you can possibly get your hands on. Full stop, period, point blank. I love the other indicators. I love looking at fear and greed. I love looking at CPPI. You guys have seen those indicators 100 times on this channel. They're good. Google Trends, great viewership on YouTube for cryptocurrency channels. Those are good indicators. The best indicator you will ever get your hands on when you're looking at sentiment is looking at, wow, there's a lot of FUD in the market, but Bitcoin just rallied 10% in a day. That's a fundamental sentiment indicator if ever I've seen one. So, is Bitcoin about to start a bull market? Maybe. We're going to talk about a number of longer-term technicals that are not talked about as much that are very bullish right now and are probably in some part and parcel behind this rally. But really, I honestly don't think they're really very much behind this rally because they're slightly longer-term indicators. We're going to talk about those. But first, let's go ahead and read some chat. That's our first segment down. We're going to keep moving on here. We've got 450 people watching, 115 likes. Let's see if we can't crash it all the way up to, rally it all the way up to 200 likes. Thank you guys so much for hitting that like button. Got a lot of great names that have tuned in since the beginning of the stream. Let's just go ahead and read those. And by the way, I am starting to read chat, so if there's anything you want me to read, now would be the time. Let's see. Good morning, everybody. Crypto Mini Bike's in chat. What's up, Crypto Mini Bike? Good morning to you as well. All right. All righty. Let's see. Buck Slayer said, good morning, Jebb. Good morning. Hello. CBD Suddy is in chat. Hello. Hello. We've got somebody asking about CT2A, the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. Since you're no longer affiliated with CCTA, would you still recommend them as your go-to or for new people trying to learn TA as your intro to crypto? Well, I created CT2A, so I mean, I'm a little biased, but I think it was a great product. We had 5,000 students go through it over the course of about 4 years, and you guys seem to really, really love it. It is currently discontinued because Club DeFi is launching on Monday, and there will be a lot of new course content in there that I think is even better than what CT2A was ever able to be. And I am going to be working quite extensively on Club DeFi over the next year or so to really get it where I want it to be. So it's not reached the full vision of what I have for Club DeFi at launch, but I am really very excited for it. As far as Club DeFi, as far as CT2A, Mike Lowry said in chat, that is currently discontinued. So Club DeFi is going to be the place to go, just starting here in less than a week. Jojo is in chat. Good morning, all. You sound like you have a cold now, Jebb. I do sound like I have a cold, and whenever I have a cold, I sound like a movie trailer announcer. I just feel like I need to be announcing like Inception Part 2, like, come get ready for your mind to be blown by this crazy CGI. The Philosopher's in chat said, morning and God bless thy Jebbling fam. God bless you too. They, you said they, not thy, I'm sorry. All right, you were right. I was right. Yay. All right. It's called guerrilla warfare. Learn from the Native Americans. That's how they won. That is right. The Americans won through guerrilla warfare, and they had snipers in trees taking out officers and hitting supply lines. And there's definitely a lot of things that American history could teach the Ukrainians right now, and I think the Ukrainians are learning a lot from it. It was really funny. Funny, I don't know if that's the right word because we're talking about a war, but it was interesting. At the beginning of the war, the Ukrainians had some javelin... oh gosh, what are they called? The shoulder-mounted missile launchers. They had a lot of those. I want to say javelins. They are javelins. And they didn't know how to use them a lot of times. So they weren't trained on them. So they're sitting there looking up a YouTube video on how to run a javelin missile launcher so they can launch a missile at a Russian tank. I mean, that's kind of the revolutionary spirit that the United States had right there. If YouTube was around back then, they'd definitely be looking up like, how do you load this musket? Like, I don't get it. Rifling wasn't around, so it wasn't a rifle. But hashtag FinSolve. Jebb, you're always sick. Lol, I'm sorry, that sucks. Yeah, it really does. It kind of does, but I am still blessed. I think my son likes to bring home his sicknesses from school. And you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, so I'm still alive, so I'm pushing through. I stopped taking sick days unless I just can't move because I just got work to do. Excuse me. Let's read chat for a couple more minutes here. Dr. Fuzzy Eyeball, member for 16 months, said, what is going on with ADAX Exchange? I bought tons of coins when it first opened. ADAX missed the rocket ship and boarded the deep sea submarine. Ooh, that's a good question. I'm going to be honest. I have not looked at ADAX in a very long time. So I could check into that. But yeah, I'd have to look into that. Couldn't tell you right now, but whew, man, I have not looked at the price of this in a while. Oh, man. Goodness, yeah, definitely a deep-sea submarine. That's a good way to put it. I'll look into that. I have not seen a whole lot on ADAX in a while. Remember, folks, bad news for crypto can sometimes mean good news for Bitcoin. That is true. NFT Swizz said, good morning, Jebb. Good morning to you, too. The French brought it home for us. Yep, the French came in at the last second and took all the credit. Alex Tarnowski said, "Morning, Jebb. I'd love to work for you someday. I feel like I learned so much. I love CT2A." Boom, glowing review. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that review. And also, thank you so much for that offer. We probably will be hiring again here in like a year. That's probably a ways off because we're just going to run things pretty small and lean for a while. All right. Let's see. Anything else we want to go over right now? TA on Polkadot, do Algo. You guys want to see some altcoins? We can probably do an altcoin. Moose D said, CT2A, sorry, at work, and for some reason that's what I thought it was. Yeah, that's one of the things I didn't like about CT2A is that the name was very confusing. So some people would say CCTA. It was one of the only things I didn't like about it, honestly. But it was CCTA, or some people would say 62A, or they'd say, C2A. It was Club DeFi is a better name, to be honest with you. I think it's a better name. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the charts once again because this is a technical analysis live stream and we're going to do some TA. Guys, right now, Bitcoin is sitting very pretty. And so we've looked at the shorter term analysis. Now I want to look at the longer term analysis. You'll have to forgive me. I forgot who said it, but yesterday someone brought something to my attention. And if you're in chat, you can definitely make sure to let me know, and I'll make sure I give you credit. But someone brought to my attention the Heikin-Ashi candlesticks on the monthly chart. If you went through 62A, if you went through CT2A, so you got me doing it now. If you went through CT2A, you will know about Heikin-Ashi candlesticks because they are very, very, very powerful. And we actually had a strategy that I taught in CT2A about Heikin-Ashi candlesticks and the MACD being a kind of a confirming indicator. I use Lux Algo for what I used to do with Heikin-Ashi and MACD now because they'll confirm themselves that way, but it still kind of works, and you can look at it out here. Heikin-Ashi on the monthly chart is very important. Just a teaching moment here. Heikin-Ashi is a certain kind of candlestick algorithm that recalculates what candlesticks look like to give you more information about the general trend rather than giving you information about what the exact price level is. Hopefully that makes sense. It's not going to give you the exact price, the exact open and close like normal candlesticks will, but instead it'll give you more of an idea. And you can read some candlestick formations on. You can read a shooting star or a hammer or a spinning top. And whenever you see the market shift from red to green, normally you want to take that pretty seriously because as you can see, we're looking at the entire history of Bitcoin here. We're looking at the last 12 years or so on the BLX Brave New Coin Liquid Index for Bitcoin through the Heikin-Ashi lens. You can see there's not a lot of shifting on the monthly chart from red to green. So whenever we shift from red to green, that typically means something very, very important. And you can see over just the last 2 months, we have seen a shift once again from red, which we had been in for about 12 months, about a year, to green. In January, we saw that shift to green, and we saw a very long lower wick and a very tall upper wick. That indicated that there was quite a lot of indecision in the market, but the good news here was that the top of the green overlapped and went over and engulfed the top of the red candlestick, making this a bullish engulfing candlestick formation on Heikin-Ashi. You have to read those a little bit differently, but that would be what this is. This is a bullish engulfing candlestick formation while also being a spinning top. It's a spinning top because of the almost equal sized candle wicks on either side. So basically this candlestick basically told us we might be going into a big rally, but we need to see some more confirmation because we're really just not sure yet. And that's what Heikin-Ashi was telling us in January on the monthly chart. This month, however, something has changed majorly. First and foremost, the candle body is far larger. You can see the candle body in this context is significantly taller. In the January's bar, we're looking at $1,300 tall. In this bar, we're looking at $4,200 tall. Now, of course, February isn't over. We've got another 12 days in the month, but I do think that if we can hold above, let's call it $24,000, that we'll probably stay up here and do pretty well, and Heikin-Ashi will end up looking something like this, or even more bullish towards the end of the month. Excuse me, I do apologize. Like I said, I'm sick, and it's kind of hard to talk for an entire hour without being able to, clear my throat and whatnot. But the other thing to keep in mind here is that we don't have a lower candle wick. That's a big deal because on Heikin-Ashi, one of the ways that you determine the strength of a trend is whether or not there are candle wicks on the opposite side of the candlestick that the candlestick is pointing in. So an example to make that a little more clear. If you're moving down in the red candlesticks, you look to see if there's any candle wicks on top of the red to indicate that that there might be some kind of bullishness. There really wasn't a whole lot in here. The Heikin-Ashi was very clear that we were in a strong downtrend. Same thing over here. When we were in an uptrend, we saw that the candlesticks had no lower wick, almost no lower wick at all. That indicated we were in a very strong uptrend. Same thing over here. No lower wick indicated a very strong uptrend. And before you see an uptrend start, you normally see one of these kind of spinning top candlesticks, whether the candle body itself is green or red. It doesn't really matter, but you normally see a spinning top candlestick like that or like that before the market starts just really taking off and going on a tear. And that's what we've seen now. We saw that spinning top candlestick, and we've seen the first candlestick with no lower wick. That indicates that we are in a very strong bullish camp right now, and that we could be seeing the beginning of a new bull market forming. Let me say that again. We could be seeing the beginning of a new bull market forming. However, we want to give ourselves some time to let that confirm. We are not there yet. All right? I'm not saying I'm calling a bull market yet. I want to see Bitcoin probably do at least $28,000, if not 30, before I start talking about bull market. I'm talking about now, before I start saying I'm going to confirm a bull market, because it's not confirmed yet. This can still be a fake out. We could still go down to 13.7. I highly doubt it at this point. I do think that we're moving in bull market territory, especially considering the halving is getting closer. You look at the cycles and and we'll actually look at that today, where Bitcoin is right now compared to where it was in the last two bull markets before the halving event. We were about 500 days away from the halving right now. Bitcoin's looking like it's about to go into a bull market, at least the beginning phase of a bull market, which normally isn't as much of a blow off top as the last phase, but still bullish. But I don't want to confirm that yet. So moving on here, that's not the only thing that's bullish on the monthly chart. You look out on the monthly chart, a couple things are happening. First and foremost, RSI is pushing bullish. It's sitting at 45. And by the way, RSI and MACD don't really change very much, whether you're on candlesticks or Heikin-Ashi. They do change a little bit. This is Heikin-Ashi. This is candlesticks. Heikin-Ashi, normal candlesticks. They're about the same. They are technically different. But in general, whatever candlesticks you look at, it will change the actual calculation of RSI, because RSI is calculating based off of the candlestick closes themselves. You can see that just by coming in here, opening this up. You can see 14 close. It's taking the data from whatever the close is. So if you're using different candlesticks, of course, that's going to naturally give you slightly different data. But anyway, RSI looks like it's about to break bullish above its 14-month moving average. On the last 14 months, the average RSI has been 46. It looks like we may be about to break bullish above that. This is the entire history of RSI on the monthly chart. Let's just go ahead and look at the different territories where we've broken this line, and there's really only two. We've seen a break above it like here, and a little bit of break right here. I'll just go ahead and show this one too. And then we may be about to see another break above the RSI line right there. Look at where those lines show up. At the very beginning of the bull market of 2016-17 that saw $18,000 get added to price. Same thing over here. We saw RSI break above the line. It actually did it a month earlier, so let's go ahead and correct that. Broke through it in between those months. Rallied to $8,800. From here, we saw us break above that level. Bitcoin rallied $50,000. You heard that right, $50,000 in 300 days. Similar thing may be about to take place here next month, where RSI could jump to the upside as a result of higher price, break through that level for the fourth major time in the history of Bitcoin. It did it another time right over here, and I mean, you could look at that and say, oh, wow, look at that. Bitcoin rallied 900%. Yeah, that's true. So there you go. If you want, there's 5 different data points. Every single one of them. Actually, I'm sorry, that was the bottom. Here it was. Then you are the bearish cross. That's the bullish cross. If you look at the bullish cross here, rallied about 900%. Similar things taking place right now on RSI as it has these last 4 times. Every time the last 4 times, the lowest rally we've seen is 300%. The highest rally we've seen is, 9,000%. $18,000 rally, $50,000 rallies, $5,000 rally, few $100 rally. But back then that was, Bitcoin was going from 100 to 1,200. So that was a pretty big change. Nevertheless, Bitcoin breaking above the monthly chart RSI, that's a bull market confirmation indicator. I'll say that again. That's a bull market confirmation indicator. Pretty big deal. Now, let's look at MACD. MACD is probably still a few months away from crossing bullish, but let's historically analyze the other times that MACD has had a bullish cross on itself. Some of these levels are going to look relatively familiar to you. They're the exact same places where RSI broke bullish. I'll just show you RSI. A lot of times RSI was a leading indicator. MACD came in clutch a little while later to confirm it. Same territory, bull market, bull market, bull market, just like clockwork. We're likely to see RSI break bullish here next month, and then within 2 to 3 months, we're likely to see MACD cross bullish. Last times that's happened, last 3 times, we've seen no less than, let's call it a 200% rally, and that was really the beginning of the bull market. We just had a little bit of a slump because of the pandemic. So in all honesty, you could honestly delete these and just say that those were just reconfirmations of this. And then if you did that, you could just say, oh yeah, Bitcoin rallied, I don't know, 1,400% all the way up to all-time high. We'll call it about $60,000 of a rally. Looks like the same thing's happening here, and you can also see they're equal spaced. So notice here, these are about 1,200 to 1,300 days apart. We're about 1,400 days from the last one. If you'll remember, the halving event in 2016 happened in... when did it happen again? I'll have to go to full screen real quick and just remember my Bitcoin halving dates. I don't want to give you the wrong dates here, but I believe it was in July of 2016. I'll give you the month. We'll call it the month, July of 2016. I was going to say May, so I'm a couple months late. Apologies. May of 2020, I did know that one. And then, of course, we're looking at next Bitcoin halving in 2024, but what is the month? I want to say they're predicting April. They're predicting April. Of course, it can move a little bit, but they're predicting April. So, going back onto the chart, you can see these 3 later lines here. These essentially represent the halving event. I'll just turn these this kind of gray color or whatever color it is. I'm colorblind, so feel free to mock me in the stream chat. It won't offend me a bit if I am completely off base. Kind of maybe a beige color. Who knows? Anyway, those are the halving events, the last 2 and the next one. You can see how RSI and MACD confirmed a bull market a little less than a year before the halving event. This was about, 300 days before the halving event. This happened right here about a year before the halving event. This is all taking place right now about a year and some change from the halving event. Do you see why I'm saying that Bitcoin is going into a bull market around the corner? If you'll remember too, 6 months ago, I was saying Bitcoin could go as low as 13,700. Bitcoin went as low as 15,500. I'm very happy to be wrong about that. We were within $2,000, so we're pretty close. Bitcoin dropped to 15.5, then it bounced, then it went into a rally, and I told you guys, look, moving on into 2024, we're probably going to be in bull market territory. By the end of 2023, you're looking at a bull market. From that point, you will likely see Bitcoin doing very well. What we need to pay attention to also, however, is the macroeconomic factors. We need to pay attention to the way that the world is working. We need to pay attention to the rates. We need to pay attention to the inflation, the stock market, the Dixie, the war in Ukraine, tensions between America and China. Bitcoin is still slightly isolated, which means that its own technicals and fundamentals and halving cycles can send it into a bull market. But the macro can very much disrupt that very easily. But right now, based on what I'm showing you, we're in great territory. All right, moving on here because there is significantly more. There is a moving average, a very, very famous moving average, and that moving average is this one. As you can see, we'll just come in here and I will show you. This is right here, the 50 moving average. This is the 50 monthly moving average. I'm not really sure why it's doing that. There we go. We'll just change over to normal candlesticks and I'll stop. This is the 50 monthly moving average. This is basically 4 years of average price for Bitcoin. You can see that moving average is currently sitting at about $23,000. That means, and this is pretty cool, over the last 4 years, the average price of Bitcoin has been roughly $24,000. We are sitting right at that level right now. We have historically held that level very solidly. We did break beneath that level, which makes a little bit of sense for some somewhat complicated reasons, but basically Bitcoin rallied not quite as far this time percentage-wise as it did before in the previous bull markets because of diminishing returns. So we kind of expected that we would drop below this moving average. That's the too long didn't read. Again, essentially, these bull markets were much larger percentage-wise, which sent us way higher above the moving average than we did in this bull market right here. We rallied 2,300% in this bull market. We rallied 10,000% in this one. We'll probably rally, I don't know, maybe 1,000% in this bull market, if not slightly less. So we'll probably see the same thing next bull market. We'll probably see Bitcoin fall quite below the 50 monthly. Doesn't matter. The point is, that moving average is pretty important. We've bounced off of it historically. I'm not too worried about Bitcoin going below it, but us seeing that happen and breaking above it right now is very, very, very significant on the long-term charts. Now, the other level to look at is down on the weekly chart, and that would be the 50 weekly moving average. That's basically a year of price action averaged out, and the 200. Now, if you'll notice here, I can turn off the the 50, and you'll see the 200 is basically the exact same level as the 50. Why? Because you cut the time frame in a quarter and you multiplied the moving average by 4. So it's almost the exact same moving average. It's just on a different time frame. So you can see the 200 here mirrors the 50 on the monthly almost perfectly. A week is a quarter of a month, and 200 is 4 times 50. So it kind of balances itself out. But then you add the 50 back, which would basically be like 12.5, basically be the yearly moving average on the monthly chart. Same thing. You can see that there is a bearish cross coming in right here. In fact, it was confirmed this week that we saw a death cross between the 50 and the 200 moving average. So a lot of people have been thinking, oh crap, there's been a bearish death cross. It's the end of times. It's the end of the world. That's horrible. But if you'll remember, as I talked about a second ago, typically, Bitcoin would rally more than 2,400% in a bull market like it did the last bull market. Still great gains, not complaining about it at all. But we would typically rally further than that, which makes it easier for these two moving averages to not cross. But if you'll also notice, when these moving averages do come within very close proximity of each other, they're literally lining up exactly with those convergences on the weekly chart, MACD and RSI, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. They've come close to each other. They're not going to stay down there. It's going to do this action more than likely, and you'll see a bullish cross by the end of the year moving into the next next halving. It's not that big of a deal. Every time these two moving averages have come into contact or in close proximity before, there has been a bull market takeoff because they're such lagging indicators that it takes the entire bear market for them to even get close to each other because they got so far apart during the last bull market that by the time they do end up getting close to each other, the bear market's over. So good luck having an indicator that you're using to call a bull market when it call a bear market when it calls a bear market 16 months after the bear market has concluded. It's too lagging of an indicator to use as a bearish signal. It is literally such a lagging indicator that you actually invert it and use it as a bullish contrary counter indicator. The fact that there's been a death cross on the weekly chart is a good thing, believe it or not. Now, moving down to the daily chart, there is another cross between these two lines that I want to bring to your attention, and that would be the cross that just took place over the last couple of days. And this one is actually bullish. This is a positive, a positively correlated technical indicator cross. We've seen the 50 cross the 200 on the daily chart. We'll just show you briefly the last couple of times that's happened. Here, historically, doing some historical analysis. Bullish cross right here between 50 and 200. Rallied 50%. Wonderful. The last time we saw a cross between these two was right here, about 2 weeks after the previous halving. As you guys know, after the previous halving, we rallied nearly 700%, $55,000. Same thing over here. We had a bullish cross at pandemic. We can kind of safely ignore that one because that was knocked out by fundamental factors. That wasn't a technically driven cross or a market. That was a fundamentally driven market. Now, looking at this level, bullish cross, 170% rally. Just by the way, in case we did rally, 50% like we did last time, we would rally to $33,000. We rallied 170% like we did the time before. We'd rally to $58,000. Just to give you guys some perspective on how powerful these crosses are. To find the next bullish cross in history, you have to go all the way back to that same region where MACD and RSI are converging bullish and look at what the market did. We rallied $19,500 from $200 to nearly $20,000, 7,000% following that bullish cross. I don't think I need to say any more. This is a very powerful bullish cross. The fact that this has taken place and the rest of those indicators have taken place are remarkably bullish for the cryptocurrency market. So, as we talked about in our first segment, there are a lot of things that should be saying Bitcoin over the next week should never have been able to go through this rally. As you have just seen, there are a plethora of technical factors on the longer-term charts that demand that Bitcoin begins a major rally right now. And that'll lead us into our third segment here in just a moment, where I explain to you why Bitcoin breaking $25,200 could send us very close to $30,000, potentially by the end of next month. So, let's go ahead and take a break, read some chat, and we'll keep on going here. If you guys are enjoying today's stream, make sure to go ahead and smash that like button. We really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Again, if you're enjoying today's stream, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to follow us every single day, because we have a lot of content to cover. Colin McDonald in chat, who has been a member of the Jebb Council for quite some time. Thank you very much, Colin McDonald. And Silent, how could I not give you a shout out? Hello. Been raining blood, and the blood is on fire this morning. That is a very concerning analogy, my friend. The sun feels so good today. If you're not out in the sun, get off your butts and feel the light. I love the sun. I also love my son. And I also love the Son of God, Jesus. There you go. There's a lot of sons I love. Let's see. Shadrach Frost in chat said, good morning, Jebb in chat. God is good all the time. Somebody has seen God's Not Dead. That's a good movie. I caught your reference, Shadrach Frost. God is good all the time. And all the time, God is good. Those two guys were absolutely hilarious in that movie. All right, can you correlate this with MACD crossings too, Crypto Jebb? I did, actually. So I think that was a chat from a little while ago. I didn't even see that. But yes, we did do that. OMAC is in chat, who is a member of the Jebbi Council, the Jebbi Younglings, the Jebbi Knights. Thank you so much for being a member, and good morning to you as well. Queen said, Pastor Jebb, I DCA'd Bitcoin at $15,000. Just a shrimp amount, but I'm seeing green. Love to see it. Love, love, love to see it. Jebb, eat some local honey. Is good for colds, but must be local. Interesting. Okay. That's something that I would be very interested in trying. Give me 1 second here, guys. Uno momento. All right, Jebb, hope Sarah, Malachi, and baby going well. Yeah, we're doing pretty well. Just sick, like always. Looking forward to not being sick anymore. All right. Let's see. Crypto Tim said, hello from the Netherlands. Here it rains, unfortunately. I'm sorry to hear that, Tim. Wisely T said, here's to hopefully a start of a new bull market. Been waiting a long time being in the red. Yep, that's kind of how it goes. Classic IT guy said, hashtag fence off. Boom. All right, guys. So now, God is good. Good job, Tanya Jordan. Absolutely. All right. So now we're going to jump into the actual part of the video where I talk about the title. Now, there's a very specific reason why I saved this for last. You needed to have the context that I just gave you to really understand what I'm getting at and the significance of it. Remember those three levels that we talked about? Well, the top of those levels is $25,236. That level, you can see, is constituted by this high that was set on the 15th of August, 2022. It was a Monday, and Bitcoin was rallied all the way up to $25,236. That's just shy of $400 higher than where Bitcoin is right now. Bitcoin has concretely decided, no, actually, we're not going to go through that bearish head and shoulders pattern and break to the downside. We're just going to go crazy. That's what Bitcoin's doing right now. We are actually at local highs right now, by the way, in case you didn't see that. But if we break above $25,236, that's going to do a couple of things. First and foremost, that will likely send Ethereum all the way through this level, which even during this stream, I can go ahead and turn green because now Ethereum's sitting at local highs, almost at exactly local highs. If Ethereum, by the way, this is a side note, this is off topic slightly, but if Ethereum breaks through this level right here, which it technically has, and stays above 1715, then it's above local highs that it set about 2 weeks ago. So that'd be great. But if Bitcoin does break above 25,236, that's going to do a few things. First and foremost, that's going to put all three of these highs below Bitcoin as support, and that is going to mean that Bitcoin is in a new paradigm. That means that Bitcoin is going to be above all of this VRVP support, and that means that Bitcoin has an extremely strong foundation from which it can build a new bull market and rally. If Bitcoin goes above that level, it will likely send Ethereum above 1796. 1796 was an interesting year. I was there. It was, I'm very old, in case you didn't know that. I'm a grand total of 22 years old. And above 1796, you start getting into very prosperous years, the 1800s, the beginning of industrialization. And from there, Ethereum will probably industrialize itself right up to $2,000 if Bitcoin breaks 25K. Because if it breaks 25K, it's going to be like a champagne cork. It's going to rally, it's going to go flying, and you're going to have no idea where it went. It's also going to do a similar thing to total market capitalization because total market capitalization is above both of these levels. It will probably send total all the way up here, reaching up close to $1,172 billion, which is the local top set on August 15th. Again, it was a Monday of 2022. Bitcoin is attempting to do that even as we speak. There is a lot of exuberance and excitement in the market this morning, and you can see it coming into fruition on these 5-minute candlesticks. In just the last 10 minutes, Bitcoin has rallied $400. So keep in mind that when Bitcoin goes on a tear and people have been waiting for a bull market for this long, they can start to go a little bit nuts and start making some really bullish trades. One thing to keep in mind is this uptrend right here. This uptrend is constituted by highs that we set back here at the end of September, early October. The highs that we set here in late October, early November. Also 3 highs that we set here, and we're right above it right now. Getting above that uptrend and above $25,236 will be a struggle. But as I said, the Americans never should have won that war, but they had the why, they had the vision, they had the passion, they were fighting for their home. Bitcoin bulls are in the exact same state right now. They're fighting for something bigger than themselves. They believe in something. And it's a hard thing to stand in front of a collection of human beings, a community of human beings, when they all believe in the same thing. There's something very powerful about that. And it's no different in Bitcoin, because ultimately Bitcoin is just another subset, another experiment in this great human endeavor that we call human civilization and history. And Bitcoin is just one more manifestation of the ways that humans interact with one another and with money. So, if Bitcoin breaks $25,230, let me just go ahead and tell you where we're going next. That level is roughly $28,500. Showing you that level is pretty straightforward. We have on VRVP a gap, pretty substantial gap. And if you remember, we have the theory of filling the gaps. Now, that shows up on CME futures, but it kind of does make a little bit more sense also here on VRVP. The bottom of that gap is sitting right here at $28,545 or so. We'll just call it, let's just go ahead and actually type it in. Here we go. $28,545. That is basically the bottom of the next big zone of VRVP support. When there's no VRVP, then you can basically just run straight through that level. So if we break 25K, you're off to the races, you're going to 28,000. That is pretty likely. That may even happen today, by the way, so get ready. But where does that level come from? Well, it comes from several different places. Just look at the last bull market. That was the absolute bottom. We set a bottom over there on January 22nd of 2021. We set a bottom here June 22nd of 2021. We set local bottoms here in May of 2022. And when we broke through that level, that is when Bitcoin ended up crashing 40%, $10,000, $11,000 in just a week. It was when we broke through 28,545. The next major level for you to look at is $28,500. And if Bitcoin breaks $25,250, which it could do as soon as today, the next stop is $28,500. Are you ready for a $30,000 Bitcoin? Because it may be coming soon. You've seen the reasons why this market should not have been able to go into a rally in the last couple of days, but you've also seen the reason why we predicted that it probably would. One, it's the fact that the bulls have something that they believe in. They're fighting for something, and be very careful getting in the way of the bulls or the bears when, by golly, they believe in something, when they have a why, when they're fighting for something. Same thing is true for the long-term technicals and fundamentals and just the overall state of the market in the stance of the halving cycle. Very similar ordeal that you're witnessing there. Bitcoin is extremely bullish right now. It has roared back onto the scene in the last 3 days. And I would be very careful entering a short position right now if you wanted to bet against this market. Bitcoin, of course, will need to come up for air. It will need to pause for a break eventually. But it's probably going to do very, very well. Now, a lot of people are saying, even Derek Moore saying 30K and back down, that's very possible. But if you rally to $30,000 and then retrace back to 25.2, then you basically just completely redefined the level that Bitcoin is trading at as 25 as the floor rather than 25 as the ceiling. That's how you stair-step your way up back to all-time highs. Some people are saying bear market rally. I don't agree, and I'll tell you why I don't agree. Well, I mean, everything I've said in this stream obviously will tell you part of the reasons I don't agree, but one of the other reasons I don't agree would be that if you look on the weekly chart, let's look at BLX. You look at the highs that we're setting right now. If Bitcoin is able to set a high here, we're above this level. When you're in a bear market, you see major highs get consecutively lower. We've already broken above this level, which basically means, hey, this could be something big. But then if we break above this level too, that's typically not what you would see happen. You typically wouldn't see these levels get completely usurped like that, then have another major crash. It's possible, fundamentally speaking, if something crazy happened in the global economy, that could take place. China declares war on Taiwan, for example, or Russia steamrolls Kiev in the spring offensive and literally takes Kiev, not just the metaphorical Kiev, speaking about like the spirit of the nation of Ukraine, but literally steamrolls them in the Donbass, in the Zaporizhia regions and the eastern parts of the Donbass and Luhansk regions in Ukraine, and then ends up running straight over to Kiev. That's possible. But at the very moment, the only thing standing between Bitcoin and a major rally is itself and time. That's what we're seeing right now. And I'd be the first one to call very happily that Bitcoin just hit $25,000 live on this stream. I don't know if you saw that. It was there briefly. The bulls are even retracing as we speak. Look at the minute chart here. We rallied up, touched $25,000, licked it. By the way, whenever you do that, typically what's going to happen is that the bulls got a taste and now they want it. Now what's going to happen over the next 15 minutes, you can mark my words, go ahead and watch it. Over the next 15 minutes, the bulls are going to say, we hit $25,000. Whoa, go buy. And you'll probably see Bitcoin at 25 and a quarter within the hour. If you watch my stream, it's not very often that I make as bold and just straight calls as that, but I think you'll see 25 and a quarter within the hour at this point as a result of that. This is absolutely not a bear market rally. Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it is. I think that this is the beginning of a bull market, potentially, but we still want to see more confirmation. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, but look out for the next hour. The next hour is going to be very decisive on Bitcoin and crypto. Okay. Jonathan Martin said, let's go. Let's go indeed. So happy to be able to share that moment with you guys because $25,000 is also, by the way, a pretty major big even because it is a quarter of the way to $100,000. So 25K is very important as well. Fury Inferno said, just closed an amazing long. Boom. Good job, man. And that's what a lot of people are doing right now. A lot of people right now are closing out longs. So there's going to be a little bit of bearish pressure, but it's not people that are bears selling. It's more of bulls repositioning. And that's normally not something that's going to cause a huge drop. You see a breakthrough 25.2 to 28.5, but maybe a retest of 25.2 for confirmation. Yes, I could definitely see a retest of 25.2 for confirmation. I definitely could see that. I certainly could. 25K imminent. You're right. All right. Shadrach Frost says, smash the like button, folks, and give some love and respect to Jebb for his daily hard work to educate and share with us. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the love, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Here's to hopefully the start of a new bull market. Been waiting a long time while being in the red, wisely, T said. I think I already read that, but I agree. Just reading chat here. All right, guys, we're going to have to go here in about 5 minutes. So let's just pray that Bitcoin is a major breakout right before I go so that we can end on a positive note. Literally a positive note. Please only buy on pullback, people. Yes, please be very... That's a good point. I need to say that as the kind of the guy that's leading the conversation here. It's very important that you're careful about entering a position when Bitcoin's already up $3,000. Excuse me. If you already got into a position and you're closing it, great. Probably not the best time to open a new position unless we see a break above 25K and you're talking a trade that could last seconds. You're talking a trade that can move $1,000 in a minute and then you close it. But you got to be really, really careful. When you're trying to enter in the middle of a trend like this, your best bet is to use very tight stop losses or even what's known as a trailing stop loss. Let's see. I want lower lows. I'm in no rush to get rich. Fair enough. Bye-bye, Bedrock. Yep, we're saying bye-bye to the Bedrock for a few more years. More than likely. 25K is being rejected. That's what it looks like. Give it time. Give it time. I'm willing to put myself out there. I give it an hour. So until noon, and we break 25K. I could be totally wrong on that. But that would be my call. Joined late, looking at BTC charts right now. We are totally bullish. Change of trend. I think this is a major long-term change of trend direction. Yeah, that's what I think. 25.2, that's a sentiment-changing level. Yep, that's exactly what I'm getting at. Breaking 25.2 completely changes the zeitgeist of the conversation. Completely changes the conversation. Because people are no longer talking about us in a bear market sense. They're at least talking about us in an accumulation sense or in something even higher. Even as we speak, Bitcoin is approaching $25,000 once again. We're at $25,973. This is where my horse race commentary skills come out. Bitcoin currently trading at $24,964. $24,966. Oh my goodness, it's rallying to the upside. Okay, enough of that. $24,983 going once. $24,986 going twice. $24,999 going 3 times. Sold to $25,800. And there you go. Breaking above 25K. It's fighting. It's fighting. It hasn't confirmed it yet. Hasn't hit that local high that we set back at 1053 just yet. But as I said, like I said, I give it an hour, probably less, and we'll be trading above 25K somewhat consistently. We may reject it. It's possible we reject here. But even just the fact on the minute chart that we're setting higher lows and pushing up into it, the sentiment is very, very, very bullish right now. Because I'm not the only one that sees everything on the monthly chart, by the way. It's pretty common knowledge that Bitcoin's getting to that point in the halving cycle where it should be expecting a bull market. $25,000 here. There we go. $25,000 going a 7th time. $25,009. $25,015. $25,016. $25,018. $25,022. $25,024. And there's that breakout I was telling you about. $25,032. $25,035. $25,038. $25,047. $25,052. Just calling out the highest number I see. $25,055. $25,058. Pretty cool. $25,059. $25,061. Going once. $25,067. There's the breakout I was telling you was going to happen. $25,076. $25,079. $25,080. $25,083. $25,085. Love to see it. Close the minute candlestick. Close the 5-minute candlestick above 25 also. Might go a couple of minutes over. I can't go too much over because we forgot to bring the lunchbox for my son at preschool today, so we have to bring that to him. But we can maybe go a couple of minutes over here because there's a special circumstance. I'm going to go to full screen just real quick. Actually, no, I take that back. I can look at chat on my phone. I can look at chat on my phone. Let's see. Auctioneer at heart. Jebb, the voice of auctioneer. It'll take a few tries, but we'll push through 25K. Yep, we're sitting up here trading above it. There you go. That's what I told you would happen. Horse race. Haha, go Jebb, 100x speed. Some of you like that. Some of you thought it was stupid. What happened to your nose, Jebb? Hope you get well soon. My nose is giving me a lot of trouble lately, to be honest with you. I am sick. I do apologize. I probably sound like SpongeBob, who's got the suds. 25.83. All right, we'll go maybe 5 minutes over. We'll end it at 11:05, and then I really do have to go, unfortunately. $25,101. What did I say? You can scroll back 10 minutes in the stream, and I said we'd be above 25K within the hour. There you go. Like I said, I normally don't make a call that bold, but that was pretty obvious. Like, it doesn't get much more obvious than that. If you're enjoying today's stream, go ahead and smash that like button. We do technical analysis on a daily basis, and if you want to look at the last hour, I've been talking about the reasons why I think Bitcoin's going to 25.2. And it's happening live before your eyes right now on stream. We have 700 people watching live. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. Jebb's thoughts on scaling into a situation like this. I think you need to be very careful because we probably will find... Okay, so here's the deal. There are two major possibilities that could happen in the next 4 hours. You could see a crazy breakout and we could rally to $28,000 by lunchtime. Or Bitcoin could hit 25.2 here in just, like 3 minutes because it's almost there already. And it could reject because the bulls are getting a little crazy. The thing is, so many people are sitting on the edge of their seat saying, I want to FOMO in, I want to FOMO in, I want to FOMO in. Some of you are saying that in chat. 25,174. And so a lot of people probably are, but then a lot of people are probably going to get wrecked, to be honest with you. I would see what happens at 25,200 because at this point, I'm almost willing to bet that we're just going to break through that again. Let's see. I'll make that call here in 3 minutes right before I wrap out because we are going to have to go here in a couple of minutes. A lot of people in chat. King Rashad said, missed you, buddy. Keep up the good work. I am very excited to continue bringing you guys content. We're going to be bringing the afternoon videos back relatively soon, too. Stopped by and smashed the like, listening in the background while I work. What's up, Thomas Post? Haven't seen you in a while, man. Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. $25,194. Remember, 25,236 is that level we need to break, and then you're heading to 28.5. You need to concretely break it. I'm not talking about smashing it for about like 2 minutes, but I'm talking about breaking it and staying up there. Got a couple more minutes before I have to wrap it out. And like I said, I really don't have a choice. I would go a little bit longer than that, but I do have to bring my lunchbox to my 2-year-old. That's the real world, baby. That's what Bitcoin is for. It's to help you support your life, not the other way around. Don't build your life around Bitcoin. Build Bitcoin around your life. Make it work for you. Don't work for Bitcoin. Work for you. Make Bitcoin work for you. That's what it was built for, guys. $25,198. We are within spitting distance of that resistance level that we need to break. We are looking at the minute chart right now on the Coinbase chart. Welcome to the stream if you are new here. I am Crypto Jebb. I am your host, and we bring you high-quality technical analysis based on my 6 years' experience analyzing these markets every single day here on Coffee and Crypto Live. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already and hit that post notification bell so you won't miss a single stream. $25,208. Moving fast, moving fast. Look at the hourly chart. Whew! That looks really nice. Back down to the minute. Got one more minute. Then I'm going to make my call of whether I think we'll break 25.2. And then I got to go. Well, technically we broke in 25.2, but I'm talking about 25.236. And let's just go ahead and confirm that that's the level we're looking at. We're at 25.218. 25.2. Oh, hang on. I got to get back over here because we just did it. Oh, no. Come here. Look at that. We broke above it briefly. 25,252. Okay, I'm willing to make my call. I said I'd give myself 3 minutes. I think you're going to concretely break above 25,236. I was about to say that, but then Bitcoin just went ahead and did it. I think you're going to get up there and stay up there for a while. Good deal. Bitcoin at $25,256. Whew. Man. Doing really well. Now what's going to happen is in the next couple of days, you're going to see the stock market end up doing very well, and then you're going to see Bitcoin go on a massive rally. Here's my prediction, and I will probably make this into a stream tomorrow. I think you will see $25,800 within 2 weeks, probably sooner than that, if Bitcoin can hold above 25K. That's my stop loss on that price prediction. All right, guys, as much as, I do want to sit here and continue watching the stream. We are over time, and I do really don't have much of a choice but to go. But if Bitcoin keeps rallying, maybe I'll make a shorter little phone video this afternoon or something. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys on the moon. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.